but I do have some thoughts. And after seeing what all of the Indiana Fever fans have to say and just thinking more about the game, I have some thoughts. Let's jump right in. My initial thought was it seems like the Indiana Fever have picked up exactly where they left off from last season. And you're probably thinking, well, that's great. They almost made the WNBA finals. It's great if they picked up right where they left off. The only issue is they did not have Caitlin Clark on the floor at the end of last season. They were playing a different style of basketball last season than the style of basketball that actually fits in with the Caitlin Clark system. And I say the Caitlin Clark system because she is a type of player who needs a...
The words were sharp and the tension was undeniable. Stephanie White is doubling down on a strategy that looks like a total disaster for Caitlin Clark. During the recent preseason clash against the New York Liberty, the coaching staff seemed obsessed with moving the superstar off the ball. It was a move that left fans and analysts stunned because it essentially neutralized the most dangerous player on the court. Instead of letting Clark control the pace, she was relegated to the corner. This isn't just a minor adjustment. It is a fundamental shift that could break the team's momentum before the season even starts. The silence in the arena spoke volumes.
During their training camp, but also last year, is Coach Stephanie White saying, we got to get Caitlin off the ball to get her better looks. My problem with that sentiment is that it has not worked yet. So how much time are you going to try to develop Caitlin Clark into this off-ball player to get her better looks when you're not actually getting her better looks and she's not actually shooting that well? And again, there are going to be days when Caitlin Clark has an off day shooting. There are going to be days when anybody has an off game shooting. It is not that. It is the shots that she was putting up. Like, there was moments in that game, and if you guys were on the live stream with me, there were moments in the game where Caitlin Clark would get the ball and kind of just chuck it, and it wasn't even really...
Everyone expected the Indiana Fever to evolve after a historic rookie season, but they seem stuck in a dangerous cycle. It feels like the team picked up exactly where they left off last year, which is a massive problem because the system doesn't account for a generational talent. Last season's style does not fit the Caitlin Clark system, and trying to force a blend of the two is creating a mess on the hardwood. Stephanie White is insisting that getting her off the ball will lead to better looks, but the reality is looking much grimmer. We are seeing a star being used as a decoy, and the impact on her rhythm is visible to everyone watching.
Her, whether she has the ball or not. But I promise you, you guys, if I see Caitlin Clark sitting in the corner like she was doing multiple possessions in that game against New York Liberty in preseason, I'm not going to be I can't watch that. Putting Caitlin Clark in the corner is basically giving the other team exactly what they want. They don't want the ball in Caitlin's hands. They pressure her when she has the ball, and then when she gives up the ball, they try their hardest to make sure that she cannot get the ball back. You put her in the corner, that's the easiest way to make sure that she does not get the ball. That's the easiest way to guard her. And so that was super frustrating to me. And again, you guys,
The most frustrating part of this experiment is the visible impact on Caitlin's rhythm. When you take a high-usage player and turn them into a spectator for 5 straight possessions, they start to press. We saw it against the Liberty, where she would finally get the ball and just chuck it toward the rim out of pure desperation. It wasn't a good look, but it was a predictable reaction to being frozen out of the offense. You cannot expect a shooter of her caliber to stay warm while standing in the corner like a standard role player. It is a total misuse of the gravity she provides, and it's giving the defense exactly what they want.
Stop trying to take her game and change it into something else when her game as is has proven to be very successful and has also proven to make others around her successful. And it's something that I don't understand because you see it in like a player like A'ja Wilson. You don't see the aces trying to make sure that they can get A'ja Wilson open spot up looks from 3. That's not A'ja Wilson's game. Yes, her outside shooting has improved, but A'ja is a mid-range player. She's a downhill player. She's a post you up and put you to work type of player. You don't see Becky Hammon coming out and saying, well, you know what, we need to make her job a little bit easier and make sure that she's getting open looks from 3. That's not what they're doing.
Putting Caitlin Clark in the corner is basically handing the opposition a blueprint for victory. Opposing teams are already planning to pressure her for 94 feet, whether she has the ball or not. They want the ball out of her hands because that is when she is most dangerous as a facilitator and a scorer. By voluntarily moving her off the ball, the Fever are doing the hard work for the defense. It makes her significantly easier to guard and eliminates the unpredictability that made her an MVP candidate in her rookie year. It is a coaching gamble that seems to be backfiring with every single possession.
to stop. I promise you, I will not make it through the season watching this team. We had Caitlin shooting long twos. We had Caitlin shooting a long two last game where her heel was on the 3-point line. Kelsey Mitchell shoots a lot of them. And the reason why it frustrates me with Kelsey Mitchell and her long twos is she is just as competent from beyond the 3-point line as she is from her heel being on the 3-point line. It's not a good shot. If I were the Indiana Fever, I would make the 3-point line at practice be actually further back than the WNBA line. Don't even have the WNBA line on the court. Please have everyone be behind the 3-point line. There was multiple plays.
We have to remember that Caitlin Clark was top 4 in MVP voting during her rookie season for a reason. She thrived under a system where she controlled the pace and everyone else fell into line around her. After the Olympic break last year, the team played fast, free, and scrappy, allowing Clark to pull the strings. Now, the narrative has shifted toward making her job easier by getting her catch-and-shoot opportunities. But why try to change a game that has already proven to be elite? You don't see other teams trying to turn their franchise players into something they aren't just for the sake of variety.
Media on her relationship with AZ Fudd. She said, I believe me and AZ's personal relationship is nobody's business but our own, and what we choose to share is completely up to us. And here's more of what she had to say.
Me and AZ are not new to this. We've been doing this for a long time. We have countless reps at it. We have a lot of experience with it, so we will continue to use that experience to show up and be professionals, great teammates, great leaders, the hardest workers, and continue to show up and do our job and help the Dallas Wings win basketball games. To add on to that, AZ Fudd was a #1 draft pick because she earned it, and it had nothing to do with me and everything to do with who she is.
Look at how the Las Vegas Aces utilize a player like Aja Wilson. You don't see Becky Hammon coming out and saying they need to turn Aja into a spot-up 3-point shooter just to give her a break. They run the Aja Wilson system because it works and it makes everyone else on the floor better. The same applies to Alyssa Thomas in Connecticut. They run everything through her because she is a facilitator. The Fever need to realize that the Caitlin Clark system isn't just about her scoring. It's about the open looks she generates for teammates like Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham through her sheer presence.
It was perfect, and we can talk about basketball now. And lastly, you guys, there has been so much conversation about Natasha Cloud because she is not currently on a WNBA team. And there's been plenty of rumors saying that Natasha Cloud has been blackballed from the WNBA because of things off the court, because of her political views, because of her activism, because of things that were said during the WNBA CBA negotiations. That is the reason that fans are saying that she is not on a WNBA team. And the Liberty's GM, Jonathan Kolb, actually came out and said something about Natasha Cloud. He said, when it comes to Tosh, she's a phenomenal teammate. She's an awesome human being. She's a phenomenal basketball player.
The absence of Aaliyah Boston in the preseason only highlighted these issues further. When Aaliyah is back in the mix, the high screen and roll should be the bread and butter of this offense. That specific play demands so much attention from the defense that it naturally opens up the wings for snipers like Kelsey Mitchell. But if the coaching staff continues to prioritize off-ball reps, that chemistry might never reach its full potential. The high screen and roll is what makes this team a nightmare to guard, not a complicated off-ball motion that keeps your best playmaker away from the action.
I was so confused by this because why are you saying anything? That is one thing. I'm sorry, you guys. Front offices need to stay off social media. Like, please just get off social media. Please don't address social media rumors. And also, why are you addressing a social media rumor when you're not signing her? So I don't get it. I mean, that's nice. That's nice of him to say. I'm sure all of these things are true, but why do you have to come out and say something? You're not signing Natasha Cloud. Like, it would be different if he said all of this and then he presented an offer and he wanted to sign Natasha Cloud to the team. So I personally didn't understand this statement, why he's coming out and saying that if he's not going to.
There is also a technical disaster brewing on the floor that has nothing to do with off-ball movement. The obsession with the long 2-point shot is going to drive fans absolutely insane this season. We saw multiple players, including Caitlin and Kelsey Mitchell, taking shots with their heels directly on the 3-point line. It is statistically the worst shot in basketball, yet the Fever seem to gravitate toward it. If you're going to be that close to the line, you have to take the extra step back. It's a lack of discipline that suggests the practice habits need a major overhaul before the regular season begins. The New York Liberty also exposed a massive physical gap that the Fever are going to have to address. With players like Han Shu standing at 6'11", the Liberty looks significantly bigger and more imposing at every position. The Fever are going to run into size issues with several teams across the league, not just New York. This makes the offensive efficiency even more critical. If you are going to be outsized, you have to be smarter and faster. You cannot afford to waste possessions on low percentage long twos or clunky offensive sets that don't utilize your best player's strengths. Amidst the frustration, there was one major bright spot in the preseason game: Raven Johnson. The rookie came out and played with a level of confidence and tenacity that was infectious. For a smaller guard in the WNBA, you have to have a special X factor to survive, and Raven proved she has exactly that. Her defensive motor is incredible, and her ability to contort her body to block shots without fouling shows a high level of basketball IQ. She didn't look like a rookie out there. She looked like a veteran who was ready to fight for every single inch of the court. Speaking of outside noise, Paige Buchers recently had to step up and address the media regarding her relationship with Azzi Fudd. The drama reached a boiling point after Azzi was asked about Paige during a Dallas Wings press conference, and the PR team shut it down. Paige took it upon herself to set the record straight, showing incredible leadership in the process. She made it clear that their personal lives are their own, but on the court they are seasoned professionals with countless reps together. It was an eloquent way to handle a situation that was starting to overshadow their talent. Paige's decision to address the media directly was a masterclass in PR management. She didn't wait for the rumors to spiral. She shut them down by focusing on the work. She reminded everyone that Azzi Fudd wasn't drafted to the Wings because of a relationship. She was drafted because of her elite skill set and what she brings to the roster. This kind of maturity is what makes Paige such a respected figure in the basketball world. Now that the air is cleared, the focus can finally shift back to the actual game, especially with the Dallas Wings set to face off against the Indiana Fever very soon. While some stars are settling into their roles, others are facing a much harsher reality. The conversation surrounding Natasha Cloud has taken a dark turn, with rumors swirling that she has been blackballed from the league. Despite being a phenomenal talent and a proven leader, she currently finds herself without a roster spot. Fans are pointing toward her activism and her outspoken nature during CBA negotiations as the reason for her absence. It's a shocking situation for a player who clearly belongs in the WNBA, and it has prompted some very strange responses from front offices. New York Liberty GM Jonathan Kolb even went on record praising Natasha Cloud, calling her an awesome human being and a phenomenal player. He claimed to stand for everything she stands for, which only made the situation more confusing. If she is that good and he supports her that much, why isn't she on the team? Addressing social media rumors without offering a contract feels like empty rhetoric. The reality is that the Liberty, like many teams, have spent their cap space on big-name stars, leaving role players and even high-level veterans like Cloud in a state of professional limbo. This situation is a grim preview of what the new WNBA business model looks like. We are starting to see the same ruthless trends that have plagued the NBA for years. Look at how Carmelo Anthony's career ended, or how Chris Paul was waived without a second thought. These are players who are still fully capable of playing at a high level, but they become too expensive or too much of a perceived risk for teams focused on the bottom line. The market has shifted, and veterans are being squeezed out in favor of younger, cheaper players who can fill a roster spot for a fraction of the cost. The new CBA has created a strange imbalance where some role players are getting massive contracts while stars are taking pay cuts to keep super teams together. This has completely warped the market and left players like Natasha Cloud lost in the shuffle. There are rumors that she even fired her agent during this period, suggesting that things behind the scenes were even more chaotic than we realized. It's a tough lesson for WNBA fans who aren't used to seeing high-caliber veterans left on the sidelines while they are still in their prime. The league is becoming a much colder place. As we move toward the regular season, the Indiana Fever have a lot of soul-searching to do. They have the most popular player in the world, a defensive spark in Raven Johnson, and a dominant force in Aaliyah Boston. But all of that talent means nothing if the coaching staff can't figure out how to use it correctly. Stephanie White's insistence on the off-ball experiment is the biggest hurdle they face. If they don't allow Caitlin Clark to be the primary engine of the offense, they are essentially fighting with one hand tied behind their back. The preseason was a warning. The regular season will be a verdict. The pressure is mounting on everyone involved. For Caitlin Clark, it's about finding a way to stay effective even when the system is working against her. For the coaching staff, it's about having the humility to admit when a strategy isn't working. Standing in the corner and shooting long twos is not a winning formula in the modern WNBA. The league is too fast and too talented to waste possessions on outdated concepts. Fans are already losing patience, and the spotlight on this team is brighter than it has ever been. Every mistake is being magnified by a global audience. The next few games will be telling for the future of this franchise. If we see more of the same off-ball disaster, the calls for change will only grow louder. The Fever have a golden opportunity to become the face of the league, but they are currently tripping over their own feet. They need to get back to the basics, fast pace, high screen and rolls, and letting their best shooter shoot from behind the actual three-point line. It sounds simple, but as we've seen in the preseason, simple doesn't always mean easy for a team trying to find its new identity under intense scrutiny. Ultimately, the WNBA is entering a ruthless new era where even the biggest names aren't safe from the business side of the game. Whether it's Caitlin Clark being forced into a role that doesn't fit, or veterans like Natasha Cloud fighting for a roster spot, the league is becoming more like the NBA every day. Big salaries and tighter caps mean there is no room for error or sentimentality. Teams are going to make cold, calculated decisions to win, even if it means benching a fan favorite or changing a superstar's game. We have to brace ourselves for a season of high stakes. The drama is only just beginning for the Indiana Fever and the rest of the league, with players like Paige Buchers and Raven Johnson bringing a new level of intensity and media savvy. The narratives are going to be non-stop. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to what happens between the lines. If the Fever can't fix their offensive identity, all the hype in the world won't save them from a disappointing season. It's time to stop experimenting and start playing to their strengths. The world is watching, and the clock is officially ticking on this new era. Stephanie White has a choice to make: stay the course with a failing off-ball strategy, or unleash the full power of the Caitlin Clark system. The preseason gave us a glimpse of the disaster that awaits if they choose the former. But it also showed us the potential of the roster if they can just get out of their own way. The upcoming matchup against the Dallas Wings will be the ultimate test. It's time to see if the Fever have learned their lesson, or if they are doomed to repeat the same mistakes. One thing is for sure, this season is going to be a wild ride.